tweaks, revamps, redesign, relay, that will be also a good additional information for your context. And then some key metrics that you can look at is site engagement and then acquisition. Next, of course, is end-to-end. So I mentioned earlier that I'm now sort of involved in the end-to-end life cycle of product. This is where the end-to-end view of your web data is important. So in analytics, you have your acquisition, behavior, and conversion metric segments or metric groups. So your acquisition is basically how you got your traffic from somewhere or from a referral and then to your website. Behavior is how your users interacted with your website. Then conversions is whether you were able to convert a traffic into a sale. So that's very important because if you're just looking at traffic with no conversion, what's the sense? Ultimately, your managers or your supervisor will still look at how much business are you bringing into my company or how much money are you bringing to my company. So try to look at your end-to-end data from acquisition up to conversion. So just some notes. Acquisition is how much traffic you get into your website. Your behavior is how good your landing page is in terms of encouraging your users to click on that call to action. And then your conversion is how good you are at converting those traffic into actual sales. Next, seasonal dives. So not all products or companies are created equal, and they don't actually perform equally every month of the year. So you have to look at whether there are factors that can affect the seasonality of your product. For travel, usually in the Philippines, the peak is at around March, April, May. So we know that we're expecting traffic, a big bunch or big bulk of traffic somewhere January, February, because the behavior of consumers or customers are that they search somewhere around those times while they still have the money, and then they book in advance. So consider the seasonality of the product or the business that you are handling. Of course, Google Analytics is built in with alert tool that you can just set up just in case there are sudden spike in the traffic or even conversion. So later probably, or when you go home, if you have Google Analytics, it is a smart move to set those alerts up so you're not surprised when something happens. Few things to set up aside from sudden spike is when your data becomes flat. So I call it flat line of death in analytics. Because when your Google Analytics become flat, meaning zero all the way, that means either you're not tracking, you're not collecting data anymore, you're dead messed up with your Google Analytics, or your website is down. So that's something to look at. Next, so you have your alerts up for some sudden change in your data pattern or data behavior. Now you have to look at traffic up or traffic down. Not all downward trend in traffic is bad, especially if you know that your product is seasonal by nature. So you have to consider that. Always look at your data when there's a spike, whether it's upward or downward spike. Because when you look at sudden spike upward, you're probably having referral spams. So that's something to look at. especially when you don't have any digital marketing activities that you're expecting for the period or for that around that time. It's a smart move to look at analytics when there's a sudden spike. Also, of course, you wouldn't want your managers or your bosses, our bosses, to suddenly see analytics and there's a really big jump downwards or big downward sudden dip in your data. So your alerts is a good move. It's something that you can set up so you're not caught off guard for those changes. So another thing is you can look at the daily views on a year-on-year with time series comparisons. You can also check month-on-month and year-on-year. Yeah, guys, do you have any questions at this point? No. So quiet. Okay. No questions? You sure? So everything is clear? Okay. Seasonal dive. Again, so always consider external and internal events. So it's not always just digital marketing that drives traffic to your website. If your website or your company is also doing offline marketing, promos, coupons, whatever that, or offline marketing campaigns, you also need to take note of that. Otherwise, you'll be looking at your data with that big spike in your analytics and not knowing where that traffic came from. And then when you need to report, you can't explain it. So it sometimes pays to be a little bit pusisero and pusisera to know what's going on offline. One thing that I've been doing ever since is to have a log of the activities that I do or activities that at least I am aware of, regardless if it's dev related, website redesign related, layout related, offline marketing, offline campaigns, or digital marketing campaigns. So you can relate that information to the specific data in your analytics. Okay, so when you look at spikes, you still do comparisons. It's very important to look at low traffic amounts and spike in rates. So if the slope of the increase in traffic is very steep, something happened there that brought a surge in traffic to your website. So that's something to look at. Next, how interactions are changing. Can you see it? I'm not sure if you can see it. Okay, so I've been mentioning about redesign, revamp, relayouts. That can impact or have either a good or bad effect to the interaction of your users to your website. So a long time ago, when I was handling hotel websites, so there was a test that we made on the color of the call to action button. So we used to have blue, green, orange, and then different colors of call to action. And guess what? Not all CTA buttons are created equal. You change the color, you change people's interaction with your website. You change the text or the call to action text, it changes everything. So you also need to do some sort of A/B testing before you decide to change elements in your website. Next is the source dives. Source dives is basically looking at your campaigns and looking at which ones that worked best and which ones did not really give the expected results. So for your campaigns to work, you have to always remember to do UTM tagging, especially for campaigns that you don't have a clear way of attributing traffic, especially for offline. So not sure if everyone's here, everyone attended the last session. So in the last session, I mentioned that there's actually a way for you to measure offline campaigns in Google Analytics, and that is by using UTM tags. So you include UTM tags, you shorten the URL, and then you give out that shortened URL to your users. So what's important is that you set up your naming convention for your campaigns. I've been telling people about this over and over again. If you start with naming your campaigns in lowercase, be consistent with using lower cases. Otherwise, one change in the casing would make it additional line in the dimension of Google Analytics. Social media, social networking, social sites, Google Analytics is not smart enough to identify that you're referring to just one term. So you might as well make it a standard practice to use just social or whatever you prefer. Next, so I always get this question in my Facebook Messenger. How do I explain not set and not provided? So not provided, it's not our fault that there's not provided. It's internal to Google Analytics to satisfy the concerns in data privacy. So if you're too concerned with the keywords, just look at your Google Webmaster Tools. However, for not set, it's something that you can actually do there's something you can do about. So not set are those campaigns that are unidentified or TBD, or Google cannot decipher where this traffic is coming from. And usually it's coming from pay-per-click campaigns that are not tagged properly, or other data sources that are bringing in traffic and not tagged properly. See, you would want to look into those. Next, page type. So, not sure if everyone's familiar, but Google Analytics has this neat feature that can actually group your pages. So, if you're doing your thematic analysis for SEO audit, Google Analytics can actually track those page grouping that you've identified in your website audit. So usually you have your default page or your home page, main page. If you haven't implemented your 301 redirects, your slash and your main.php or your home.html, they're pretty much the same. So you can group them together and indicate that that's your main page. If you're working on an e-commerce site, and usually there's a product page, product details page, and products category page. So you also would want to look into that. So why is it important to track or look at page types? Because people are probably just looking at certain information. And because they are looking at or looking for certain information, it makes sense to focus on what people want than exhaust all your efforts on a contact us page that people do not really visit. So that's something to look at. And also, there are high ticket pages, so your transaction pages. You have to also take a look into that. You want your interaction or your drop-offs to be less, especially on those crucial transaction steps in the website. So this is just something to consider also. So while we are looking at the web pages at the back of our heads, we also need to look at some other factors, especially the steps where the customers are in when customer journey that they have. Are they still in the awareness, still discovering or looking for information phase? So in SEO, that's your informational pages. And then you also have your consideration phase. in the customer journey where they try to go to your website and actually look for those information that they need. And then there's also the intent, and they click on those CTA buttons. Those are indicators that they have the intention to do something. And then of course the decision. If you figure out how to optimize these 4 steps, you're good at doing or converting them into a loyal customer, even to advocates of your brand. So these 4 crucial steps can actually, affect how you implement your digital marketing. There's also another one that you might want to look at, and that's attribution. So attribution meaning how much of the conversion do I attribute to pay per click? How much do I attribute to SEO, to social, or to email marketing or offline marketing? So sometimes people see your website doing search, but they don't convert at that time. Probably after a few days, they realize and still remember your website. They go to the website directly, and that's the only time that they convert. Now you have 2 channels to look at. You have your search, paid or organic, and then you have your direct traffic. So who is it going to be attributed to? Search or direct traffic? So those are things that you explore the attribution models in analytics. Next, this one is just additional information for everyone. And this is the web analytics paradigm. What I'm talking about is just your click stream and multiple outcome analytics. So your page views, your website sessions, your users, that's your click stream. And then you also have your conversions, that's your multiple outcome. There's also experimentation and testing. So built-in Google Analytics has content experiments to do A/B testing. And then there's voice of customers. It's very important for businesses to listen to the voice of customers. How do you do this? You listen to what they say online. So it's not just social media comments or posts about your company or your brand. It's also how your brand is showing up in search. You'll never know if next time you do a search, there's a negative result in Google. So you also need to do that. But these, of course, are layers. Once you're good at your click stream and your multiple outcomes, that's when you start considering to go much deeper. And then next is competitive intelligence. So in the first earlier part of my slide, I mentioned about benchmarking against or comparing to your competitive sets. This one is being ahead of your competitors. So you also want to look at competitive analysis of your competitors, data or performance of your competitors. Whether it's what other people are saying about your competitors in the social media, how your competitors are positioning themselves in the search, or whatever. If you want to look that, if you're trying to explore on how to do that, you probably want to check out Cytoscope because Cytoscope has built-in competitive analysis. So, yeah, some case studies to share. So I mentioned that I worked for an online booking engine company for a long time. So this is one case study that I've always, or a story that I've always shared to a lot of people. So there's this one hotel. This one hotel has been with the company that I used to work for a long time. And they've been pressuring us to do digital marketing for this company. But sometime during that engagement, they decided to sign up to Cash Pinoy. So they gave out vouchers and they gave out vouchers for a very big discount. So usually that's around 45, 55 percent discount. So then we saw that there's a big jump or a spike in the website traffic. But the funny thing is that there's the reservation or the revenue from that hotel is declining. So we didn't know at that time that they have a cash Pinoy campaign. So we only found out after someone did a search because it's starting to become a headache to the digital marketing team. So what we found out is that they gave out a very big discount online. So they didn't realize that that promo that they launched in Cash Pinoy actually hurt their revenue. So they thought that it's a good move for them to join Cash Pinoy, but actually it's not because it's eating up their revenue month on month. So I'm not sure whether that resort is still up, but I have not heard about them lately. So yeah. Next, online shopping experience. So I worked for an e-commerce company before. We were selling inflatable pools, and then so that company is smart enough to set up all their analytics end to end, including setting up their dedicated team, monitoring social and online feedback from customers. So there's this one instance when we noticed or we observed that there seems to be something off in the revenue. But the digital marketing wise, campaigns, all the acquisition, all the marketing campaigns are bringing in good traffic. PPC campaigns are profitable, but there's still something off. We were expecting higher revenue than what we were getting. So what we found out after investigation or after probing is that there seems to be a very big number of complaints that that's coming from one website that we were not tracking, we were not monitoring. And apparently, the referrals from that website is very big, or I'm not sure if it's a long time campaign that just got resurrected, but there's this problem with customer feedback. So we know that we were already monitoring customer feedback, but there's still something off. We know that we've addressed everything already, every complaint, including delays in delivery and all that, misinformation in the website, headlines, until we realized that the problem that we were having is rooting from the drop shipping company that we commissioned. So what happened was that they changed their entire inventory management in the warehouse. So whenever we forward items or orders for delivery, they get routed to a different site. So everything else is working except for that third-party inventory dropshipping company. So for the company, I mean for us at that time, what we needed to do was to contact and then get in touch with the customers that were complaining and asking them to, giving them options to either refund or give them free shipping on their order, or completely giving some items for free. So it's a costly resolution for the company. So that's why I think these days it's very important to have an end-to-end from acquisition to fulfillment mindset for all of us in digital marketing. So we can also look into this. Streamlining processes will also help a lot. It's okay, I'm done. So you have any questions? I hope that helped you guys or you learned something.
So now we're opening the floor for any questions.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we have a question so that everybody else gets less shy. So, having worked on a lot of websites, I think one of the problems is most people don't know how to craft the proper conversion of the website. Most business owners are not e-commerce savvy. Sometimes even owners of websites are not e-commerce savvy. What's the fair way to track how well a website converts visitors to customers or visitors to buyers? Should you take it against all visitors, or should you take it by marketing campaign? Should you take it by visit to a specific page and then go check out?
It depends on the purpose or the objective of the analysis. If you're looking at the entire company performance or company health, we probably want to look at each of those aspects. So, there was a time before when I was doing web analysis, we have a top level, high level analysis of the key metrics of the business. So regardless if it's tracking via Google Analytics or an in-house, probably built-in conversion tracking. So at that time we were using Evolution as an e-commerce platform, and Evolution has their built-in tracking of orders. So whether it's from that or from analytics, it depends on the objective. If you're looking at optimizing a page, you want to look at page level. If you want to look at how good your campaigns are working, you would look at a campaign level. So it always goes back to what is the objective of the analysis, or what are we trying to do.
What if your boss wants to know? He has a tactical goal, a vanity goal. He wants to know, out of all the people that come to visit the site, how many will buy something? He just wants to know because he'll feel good about it.
It depends. Sometimes it will make you feel good. Sometimes it will make you feel bad because sometimes you have the impression that you're doing great, only to find out that once you chuck in the data and process all the data, you actually aren't doing well compared to previous time. So, for e-commerce sites, the platform always has e-commerce platform always has a built-in order tracking. So that's one. So you have your orders, and then you also have your traffic. So you get the sessions from your analytics and then the actual orders. So what you do is you get the ratio from that actual orders over sessions. That's how you get your conversion rate. It's also the same for whatever other platforms you're using. So yeah.
Okay. Anybody else here? Oh, there you go. Question.
This is the most questions I got ever since I've been talking about analytics.
You can start from the DELA. Anyway, my question is, of course, we will already have this Facebook, other digital analytics, post Instagram, or how do you connect them to your analytics?
Okay, so let me try to see if I understand your question correctly. So you're asking how to connect the analyses from different platforms or websites. Okay, so this is a tricky part, and this is where most web analysts make mistakes. So take note that your Instagram, your Facebook, your Google Analytics, even your Google AdWords have a different data collection method. They will never be equivalent to the number of sessions or number of clicks that registered in Google Analytics. Never, because they have different collection methods and they have different metrics. Even between AdWords and analytics, your clicks will not always be equivalent to your session. So, as a tip or as probably a guide, you would want to study and learn how they're calculating or how they're recording the data. If it makes sense to you, always use your, if Google Analytics is your main analytics tool, you always use your UTM tagging for every link that you drop in any platform. And you're expecting that when someone clicks on those links, they go to your website, always have the UTM tagging in place. Other questions? Questions. Good. More questions? Okay, so if you happen to think of a question, analytics related, I always entertain questions on Facebook. I will tell you and I will let you know if I'm busy, and I'll get back to you when I have the free time. So, thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. SHEILA.
Yeah.
Now, while we're setting up, I'd like to invite you guys from Warehouse to talk a little bit about this really nice place we have here. Hi everyone. First of all, thanks for coming out. Everyone from TrueLogic. So this is Warehouse 8. We are a co-working space, and for those who are not aware, a co-working space it's like a gym, except instead of workout facilities, you get work facilities. Like instead of workspaces and shared offices and event venues. So instead of getting like dumbbells or treadmills, you got Wi-Fi and tables and what else we got?
Different types of working. So there's private offices, per seat, and there's also semi-private spaces, and you can do like a group co-working as well. Yeah. So what we're positioning ourselves as if you're familiar with La Fuerza Plaza, which is where we are right now in the compound, we're like the artsy co-working space in design oriented space. So
yeah, so if you walk in on the way here to Warehouse 8, you're going to pass through like furniture stores, art galleries, design studios. So if you were to have a co-working space in a compound like this, it would only make sense to have art and design oriented co-working space. But with that, we need like creative entrepreneurs and not just artists and designers. And that's why, artists,
so we're launching an artist residency program. So that's going to be at our Makers Lodge. So we're having like a place where you can discover new artists, and that could be programmers, that could be artists. So they have comic books. It could also be like paintings, accessories. So we're gonna have a culture section in our space, and it's just basically a place where people can showcase their goods. Yeah.
People can showcase their goods, or if you have nothing to showcase, you can just come here to discover new things. Because I have never heard about SEOs until this week. But now that I know all about it, I'm actually curious, and I've been listening from the back this whole time, and then, oh wow, okay. I didn't know that there was so much, well, I knew there was a lot going on, like becoming visible in online, but now like my brain is just full of so much information, and that's what I love. That's the great thing about a co-working space where you discover new things. Like, let's say 1 week you're gonna discover about calligraphy, and then the other week you're gonna discover about like travel apps or something. And now this week I'm discovering about SEOs, something that I never even thought existed in the first place. I'm also, so if it's something that you're passionate about talking about. Even if I'm not even interested in it, I will eventually. Yeah. So discover stuff that end to end, and people who are passionate about it. Yeah. Because if I'm like an artist, I have nothing about, I know nothing about tech, but now I wanna. So yeah, thank you. Yeah, thanks to Bernard too. Like he talked for like about an hour and a half about everything there is to search engine optimization, and it kind of fried my brain for like a good a good night. And I couldn't stop thinking about being visible online. I try to do this with myself. So if it's like if it gets me interested, then hopefully you guys as well. And you guys probably know more than me, so.
Yeah. So that's one of the advantages of being in the corporate space. We've been open for a month and a week, so we're really relatively new. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions about the space, feel free to approach us. We plan to wear a bit of yellow today, so because that's one of our colors. So yeah, thank you so much.
All right, thanks guys. Well, if you ever need your website optimized, you can call, right? Or if you want. All right, so everyone before our next speaker, we're just going to set up. Everyone take 5, get some water. We'll be back in 5 minutes.
Oh, sure.
All right, guys, so. All right, everyone. All right. So our next speaker is a digital marketing executive with 10 years of experience in sales, marketing, and offshore management. He's a vice president for marketing at Digital Mareting and co-founder of the Graft Group, a venture capital and startup incubation company. So here to talk about content playbook, how to scale content marketing. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Sam. How's everything tonight? Good. Great. Some food, got some drinks. I know this is a free event, but everybody great from Makati to come here today. And you know, on Friday, on payday, like your life increases 10% every time you go through that. So I know you have made a big commitment to be here tonight, and we'll do our best to give you a great presentation and try to have you go home with some good learnings today. So thank you very much for coming here. Thank you so much for SEO Org, for outside TrueLogic, everybody for putting this event together. I flew in on Monday, and I'm very glad that my trip could coincide with this event, so I could be part of it. So, the title of my presentation here is Content Playbook. And when Michael asked me to speak, I said, hey, what should I speak about? And he said, content built for users is what people wanted to hear about. And inside I was like, because content is not really my thing. My thing is more of analytics and AdWords and customer acquisition and strategy. So I had to really think hard about this. So I just decided to share what I'm doing, right? And full caveat, I'm not necessarily an expert, but I'm trying my best to share what I know. How many basketball fans do we have here? You guys like basketball? So what's the difference between street ballers, the guys who play at the gym, and the guys who are playing pickup games that run by, center, versus, like even high school teams, right? The difference really is the coach and the playbook, right? When you see pickup ballers playing, they're all trying to show off, they're all trying to show their own skill, and some of them have a lot of good skill. But when push comes to shove, if you don't have a playbook and you don't adhere to it, you're not going to have that consistency. And so today I'm going to talk about, we as content creators can also be like that. We can rely on our creativity and our talent and kind of the belief that our ideas are so grand. And that can get the best of us if we don't stay consistent to some sort of playbook. So a little asterisk here. Like I said, I'm not a content expert necessarily. I've adapted this, the concepts of this presentation from something I learned at a Google Think B2B conference. It was presented by the product marketing team at YouTube, and they were teaching businesses how to curate content for the YouTube channels. And they came up with a framework called Hero, Hub, and Hygiene, since they've moved it to Hero, Hub, and Help. And so you'll see those themes reoccurring within my presentation today. Now, obviously, they have a much better presentation, so if you want to see some of their information, I've added a link here in my slide deck. I will share this on the Facebook SEO group, and I will give it to Michael and whoever else can distribute this. So if you want to do your own research. So, what is the playbook trying to accomplish? We need to identify the problems that we're trying to overcome. And the first problem is that first principles, good content comes from good ideas. Okay? But now I want you to think about what an idea is. How do you define an idea, right? Idea is when a thought occurs to you and you think it is exceptional enough that it becomes an idea. And the flaw in that is when you come up with an idea, you think it's great. That's the definition of an idea. Because it doesn't mature to an idea level unless you think it's great. But many times when you're creating content, 2 or 3 weeks later, 2 months later, you publish the content, and you look back at it, and how many of you are like cringy? Like, oh my God, why did I put that out? At that point, I thought that content was so good, that idea was so great. How is it that 2 months later I'm cringy? That's the first problem we need to solve to be a good content creator. Okay? Second problem, idea drought. Running out of ideas is the worst, right? Now, it really depends on what industry. I'm an e-commerce entrepreneur. Contrary to the introduction, I'm no longer the vice president of marketing at Digital. I started my own company, and I have 2 core businesses. In one business, I sell drones, commercial drones, and aerial imaging equipment, and some of this type of DSLR equipment, which is very cool. I love it. It's interesting, right? Who's not excited to see these things flying with big cameras on them taking HD footage? My other business, which is actually more profitable, is an inkjet and toner business that I sell inkjet and toner through an e-commerce website. And that's where the idea drop sets in. Because how many times can you write content about inkjet cartridges and toner cartridges? Right? But if you're not content marketing, if you're not putting content out there, it's really hard to rank. It's really hard to do social. It's hard to do email. You need to come up with ideas for your content. And so that's the second issue that your playbook is going to try to address. Okay? So the solution is the idea reservoir. You need to build a process around an endless stream of inspiration. Right? You need to build a process so that your ideas keep stacking up, and then you can compare your ideas against each other to figure out, okay, this idea is good, but this idea is better, right? The one that was kind of like not as good, that's the one you would have cringed about. Right? So you put that into the reservoir so you can compare fairly against yourself and say, which idea do I really want to execute on? This is the creme de la creme. You put it into the reservoir and you compare them, you take the creme de la creme. That's the only thing that you really want to publish. Okay. So to fill a reservoir, you need a pipeline. And I would like to take some credit. It's very hard to find a beautiful picture of a pipeline. And let's there are 3 content types that I discussed at the beginning: hero, hub, and help. Okay, so 3 H's you need to remember. 3 content types. Hero. This is all content creators think that they're heroes. Every single idea they come up with is hero. Reality, it's not. Okay, you need to get over that. Hero is wow, that went viral. The content sizzles. Right? People are sharing, customers are calling, your competitors are crying. That's hero content. Okay? How many of you guys read Moz? A lot of Moz readers here? Moz does like annual ranking factors, right? That's hero content. Comes out once a year, and people are talking about it endlessly. Okay? That's an example. Hub. Subscribe to my channel. Regular programming. You need to standardize this for a couple of reasons. One, it makes it easy for content creators to execute. You need to have templatized. Okay? The second is, even if you get tired of your format, your readers, your viewers, don't necessarily like format change. It's easier for them to be passive consumption if it's predictable. You read Moz, Whiteboard Friday, same template every single time, and you like it because you're not trying to digest or understand something new. You just get the information. Okay? So all the content creators that are like, oh, let's just switch it up. Think about that. Your readers might want that consistency in your hub content. Okay? And you need hub content, and the reason it's called hub is hero is the tentpole, and this content, your hub content, are the spokes that come out of it. It radiates out of it. So in the concept of Whiteboard Fridays, it just deep dives into different ranking factors that have been discussed in the annual ranking report. Last one is help. And content creators really don't like this one that much. Every time my content creators, are assigned projects, this is the one that no one really likes to do. But this is your bread and butter. Or in the Philippines, it's your rice and chicken joke, right? And this is your FAQ content, okay? Your knowledge-based content, right? And embrace it as content creators. You can become the hero of the sales and customer service team. They'll worship you because you're making their jobs easier. You're helping them close sales. You're building authority, and you're hitting the long tail. Right? This is the way that you hit the long tail, especially with rank these days. In the way that these long research queries are being met, you want to make sure that your content has those conversational, how, what, will answer long queries. Okay. So you said, okay, Sam, we have a problem. The solution is a reservoir. You got pipes coming to this reservoir, 3 different types of pipes filling up the reservoir. But where do these ideas come from? They come from your idea streams. Idea streams are never ending, keeps flowing. And that is actually that you're looking for. Okay, so let me give you some examples to use. Here are some sources. We have customers, For example, tutorial use case requests, customers wanting to learn something, right? We could create tutorial content on a cyclical basis. We could do surveys for our customers, ask them what they want to learn about, right? Today we did a survey on what people wanted to learn about at this event, and we get ideas, right? We probably have ideas for next event as well too. Right? Customer reviews. This is really good to kind of give yourself a pat on the back, make yourself look good, right? You could take customer reviews and create regular content around that cyclically on this quarter. This is why customers are loving this. Or customer success, right? Like Shansi has company Qeryz. A lot of people are really enjoying that software, right? You can highlight the case studies on a monthly basis or a quarterly basis to drive hub content. And your product is your hero, and you're creating hub content of supporting why that hero is great. Okay? Complex customer service questions. Earlier I said FAQ content is your help content. Sometimes there's something a little too complex to put into a knowledge base or a short answer. So in that case, you might want to break it down with a comparison or an infographic or something like that. So there's those kinds of things. Now, if you look at all these things, they continually happen. Right? There are always, if you are surveying customers on what they want to learn, they'll continue to tell you. If you're soliciting reviews, you continually see reviews, right? If you're talking to your customers about how they're using your products, you'll also get success stories on a regular basis, and so forth. Right? Industry. Whatever industry you're in, there's new product launches, there's new technology investment, there's new legislative changes, and there's, if you're in a retail space, there's seasons, events, and holidays. If you're in a government space and you're selling to governments, there's seasons and events in those calendars as well. So you could be creating blog content, YouTube content, all around these cycles, and it can serve as a never-ending source of inspiration, right? It's good to key into one thing and focus on it, so that you don't get into an idea drop. And if you look at some of these sources, when you sell inkjet cartridges, it's really important to have this, discipline. So help. Customer CS questions. One that people don't really think about is product returns and refunds. Okay? Why did they ask for a refund? If I got a 3 to 5% refund rate on my business, if I can figure out ways to educate customers not to order the wrong product or misuse the product, I could directly affect my bottom line, right? So content marketing, a lot of times SEOs, we think about that as let's get more traffic. But as content creators, you can actually affect the bottom line in more ways than just SEO. So always remember that. Suppliers and vendors. If you're a reseller like me, manufacturers often provide product manuals and training documents, and they've done all the hard work. You just need to transpose that online, make it unique, make it easily digestible, right? And your content team can get that long tail authority online. Social and user-generated content, Quora, forums, Facebook, competitors' knowledge base. Like, let's say you're entering a space and your competitor has a better knowledge base than you. We'll go read their knowledge base and write better answers on your knowledge base. All right, Hero. For all of the content creators that think I'm crushing your creativity, I apologize. But we have saved Hero for you. This is old-fashioned imagination, creativity, whiteboarding, right? On a quarterly or biannual or monthly, however often you want to publish your content. Get a group of people together, come up with ideas, brainstorm ideas. A couple things that I would advise is always include multiple layers of your organization within brainstorming for Hero content. And here's why. One, your entry level people can have a perspective that may be very different from you, that you will need. Even if they're not coming up with ideas, they can provide feedback for your ideas that is useful. Okay? They're fresh. They're not in the organization long. Sometimes when you're in an organization long, you kind of just get stuck doing the same thing. So you need freshness. Two, if you want to cultivate human capital in your organization for creativity, you need them to be in the room to see what the process is like, so that when they actually get to the level they can contribute, they'll know what it's like and they won't freeze up when they get into that room. How many times have you promoted a manager? They come in and they're like, what do I do now? Right? So you need to include them in that creativity process. So these are the ideas for this. It's really just a backlog for anybody who is in software development. So let's stick to the water symbolism here. So I'm going to go a little bit deeper, and I'm going to show you for my business some specific examples of how this works. So for me, I focus a lot on new product launches. I have a lot of vendors. I sell DJI products. and they're releasing new products on a quarterly basis, right? So DJI Phantom 4 came out. How many people know what a Phantom 4 is? A couple people? It is a drone that flies with an HD camera and it's very popular these days, and it's really growing. So I'll do an unboxing. What's an unboxing, right? You just bring the product, you put a video up, and you open it up, and you go through all the little pieces, and anyone who's looking to buy this product is very excited because they see what's inside that product. People do this with iPhones a lot. Now it's happening in other industries as well. When a new generation comes out, new product comes out, you should always do a comparison to the previous product to see what the cost and benefit is. This one is cheaper, has lower benefits. This one is newer, has better benefits, but it's more expensive. Right? So every time a product comes out, my team can put those two types of templated hub format together, right? And put that out on YouTube, put that out on the blog. There's a lot of other examples of things that are currently sitting for us to develop in our hub content. Hub content. I'm using chat transcripts, live chat transcripts on the e-commerce website. It's easy because I don't have to listen through a phone call. I can keyword scan. You can export this from your live chat software, and from there you can find out what the common questions are. If you categorize every single live chat conversation and identify the core reason for the live chat, then you can quantify which are the biggest issues. Right? So some people, for us, they don't know how to update their firmware on their drone. And so if we create a guide to answer that question, we reduce our phone calls and we create authority for our own business. I'm pretty jet lagged right now, I'm losing steam, so I'll just wrap this up. So here are some hero content ideas I have. If anyone else sells drones, don't steal my ideas. I'm in the process of launching something called the Titan X8 that is supposed to lift 15 to 20 kilograms of weight. And it's for commercial use. For anyone who's in the film industry, it's for like Red Epics, very high-end $50,000 to $100,000 cameras. That's what we're trying to carry. But I said, a great way to demonstrate that weight is for us to fly 24-pack of beer on a drone to a location, to demonstrate how much weight. Because a lot of people don't know if they see a camera how much it weighs, but they definitely know how much 24 beers is, right? So that's an example of hero content, where we would do a production shot and then we would publish that out on YouTube to get some social media buzz going. Okay. Drone fireball. So we own a lot of drones for our flight school, and we cannot use old drones for our flight school because people don't want to sign up for flight school with old product. But we have, let's say, 15 drones that are no longer, they got to be mothballed. If I could go to private property and I could cover this with some sort of flammable fluid, light it on fire, see how long it flies, I thought that would be a pretty interesting thing. So now you're getting kind of a flavor. Like on the left side you have help, which is chat transcripts, pretty boring, pretty rudimentary, But my team is still getting their creative juices flowing with some crazy ideas on the hero side. So once you have that reservoir and you have that backlog, it's time to take, those are all ideas, but we're not going to execute on all of them. Some of them we're not going to execute at all because they're not free. They're not prime delivery. Just create a simple calendar and drag and drop your ideas into this calendar. And keep it simple. I've seen some editorial calendars that have publishing steps for every single editorial step, and this gets too crazy. Keep it simple, stupid. That's kiss. Yeah, I'm not actually promised. So I just keep it very simple. For example, hey, content team, every week we're going to do a certain amount of knowledge base, right? And they know that this is our bread and butter, so there is no week that we go without knowledge-based stuff, except for the time that we're launching the hero. Okay? Hub content. Do that less frequently, but also do that. We do product unboxing, we do tutorial. Product unboxing, we do tutorial. But when you do hero content, you really want it to be focused on promotion. You put a lot of effort into this. You're probably putting a lot of time and sometimes a lot of money in the case of burning drugs. So you want to make sure that your entire content team is ready to respond in live, right? Because you don't want to miss the opportunity that someone is tweeting and you don't have the opportunity to retweet. The content team must have this opportunity. Here's why. Because that's where the satisfaction comes. As a content creator, when you get to be part of that push and see how viral it goes, that's really where the satisfaction comes. So make sure that everyone is involved in the hero content. It's something that everyone can rally around. And that's it. Thank you very much. You can add me on Facebook, and I'll be annoying and show you pictures of my new dog.
Questions?
Thanks. Now, anyone have any questions? We're on the floor. I just have ideas, man. My boss has been looking to switch to us. Yes, and one of them. Anyone? All right, guys. Oh, content, right? Yes, the content writing through Logic.
Hi Sam, I'm Chess from Qualifier from Logic. We've been hearing a lot of things about the related terms when it comes to search and the content that we write. What's your take? What do you think about this buzz that going on the web right now?
So just to restate the question, what do I think about making sure you use related terms within your content when you're trying to target a specific keyword? Yeah, so that's definitely core basics. You can't just put only your target keyword. That's a fact, right? You can't only use your target keyword. But the next level of analysis is also knowing what related keywords you want to use. So the answer is yes, but if I want to elaborate on that further, I think that using real human data sources around that keyword will help you find good related keywords. So if you look at Google's drop down where it has search suggests, it has search prediction, that's based upon related keywords. I think that you want to look at customer user generated content and around that topic see what terms that they're using and make sure you included those terms. But just be conscious of not getting too caught up in the term count and focus more on making sure that when you include the term, you're including it to address that part of the concept and not just include the term. If that makes sense.
Can I have the phantom too instead?
If you come to LA, I'll give you a phantom too, I promise. and a toner cartridge as well. Okay, I think there's no more questions. Oh no, if you tomorrow ask me a question, it makes me very nervous.
Nothing for my question. So you guys have been content obviously, and maybe we content. Are you guys trying to optimize for the answer box? And if yes, what are the methods or the strategies?
Quick answer box. The quick answers on the top. Yeah. So yes. This is my testing. I will share this. Nobody sells drones, right? Or inkjet cartridges. So we should blur this.
Might start tomorrow.
So this is something that I would love to get your feedback on, Mark, because you're very technical and a local tester. I noticed, we all know that Wikipedia gets a lot of those quick and short answers. So I've studied, the HTML markup of Wikipedia and applied that to my content. And I've seen like pricing tables and a lot of that kind of stuff pop up in those quick answers and jump the rankings. So if you guys are familiar with this, when you type a search and Google injects some sort of box with some content in it to rank #1 above everything else, my process is they're doing this programmatically. Wikipedia seems to get a lot of them. Let's study how Wikipedia's front end HTML looks. Let's copy that. I don't know, is that your question?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna run away now. Thank you.
One more.
Oh, there's one more.
We're not letting you go.
Hi, sit down. I'm Arrow from East Vantage. I'm an SEO specialist, but I also write. So I'm just curious about something. What is your take on entertainment-focused content? Like, if you're a serious brand, like you sell drones and inks, is that right? And they're just like BuzzFeed. They post a lot of entertainment-focused content. like a lot of GIFs, a lot of lists with GIFs or images. So what is your take on that? Is that something that you would spend time on doing, like spend resources on? What is your take on that?
It depends on what your brand image is. So you really want to make sure you're in touch with whoever's thinking about branding or PR. And if it's in line with their vision, then it's okay to use those. They're very viral. It's really easy. People have a kind of a fast food mentality when it comes to content, so those are easily shareable to get some reach. If I understand correctly, you work for a bank, is that correct? No, sorry, BPO, okay. In the case of BPO, I think it's totally fine to use that type of content and look up creating GIFs and creating lists and creating funny stuff. But let's say if you were an insurance agency or if you're in finance or security, I would probably say that your customers wouldn't take it well. Like at my hospital, like when my doctor was releasing like GIFs on 9gag, I'd be a little concerned about my health. I hope that answers your question.
I got a question.
Yes. I'm also nervous with the
This
question.
should be easy, this should be easy.
I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer.
Yeah, so it's one thing to create great content, it's another to get it to consume. What are a couple of, so we could follow those 3 steps, but you don't have enough visitors, or you don't have enough channels to vet that content too. Great content in the middle of the desert, so it doesn't matter. What are a couple of quick actionable items to do if you want your content consumed?
Oh, this is where you're going to realize I'm not that much a content person, because for me, I pay for it, right? I think if you're really good at doing Facebook promotion and other things, you get really effective, cost-effective reach. I know that's not the most popular answer when people are thinking about SEO and viral social media, but look, I run a business, I have to pay bills, I need to have consistent, acquisition channels. So for me, pay for it and try to make sure that you either get a remarketing pixel or you get an email capture. So that you create custom audiences, or you can create email, both custom audiences, remarketing, and email blasts. So I think it's a snowball, right? You got to start somewhere. It's fine to pay a few $100s to get that going, and then from there we look like audiences and email and try to get people to share. We do sweepstakes if you want to develop your lists, like giveaways and stuff like that. But you got to invest in something. You're not going to just get you can be really amazing and get some stuff for free. I'm not that amazing, so I can't answer that question in any other way. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, any other questions?
Thank you guys.
All right.
We'll have another quick 5 to 10 minute break this time.
And plus, I'm in the middle of my working day.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, before that, I think let's hear from the guys at Graft. Anyone? Let's hear from the guys at Graft Street. The amazing food we have tonight.
Yeah. Ferrari, dude. It's like Ferrari.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Hi, you guys are at Hi guys. How are you? How's school? Great. I'm Aaron. I'm one of the organizers of Graft Street. I'm with my partner, Maisie. So we're not caterers. May makapagkamala kaming catering company. We're actually a food bazaar. We're in the food bazaar business. So we are operating in Santa Rosa, Tagaytay, and Batangas. So we have different food concessionaires.
So if you have events, we can bring them. We have different kinds of food, from Mexican to Filipino street foods, Korean, Japanese, a whole lot of choices. So I hope you guys are having a great time. I won't take much of your time. We're open in Santa Rosa. If anyone there is out, you can visit us every Friday, every Thursdays to Sundays. 5 p.m. to 12 midnight. Soon to open Tagaytay, Summit Ridge, and Robinson's Lipa. Okay, so
What if they want to put session?
yeah, you can, if you want to join, if you have a talent in cooking, specialties, you can contact us. Our Facebook page is Graft PH. Our calling cards are outside. You can get one of these. So again, please visit us if you have time. Anyone there who's out. And then cheers. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers. All right.
We'll call back. Well, Kevin's gonna take a break. I think he needs one right now.
Sure, you understand.
All right. We're still waiting for anyone outside. Everyone settle down. Our next speaker is the CEO and founder of SEO Hacker Qeryz. In his spare time, he also acts as a motivational speaker, conducts seminars, and talks to inspire young entrepreneurs. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Sean Patrickson.
Just call me Sean. So, hi, good evening. I know I'm not speaking at the best hour, and I have been preceded by an excellent presentation. So please bear with me. I'm Chinese, but I do know how to speak English well. So my topic for tonight is going to be a little bit technical, but I'll try to simplify it for you as best as I can. The topic is what's after SEO. Now I know my talk should be about SEO, and we are going to get there a little later on in my topic. But first, we're going to be touching base with CRO, which is conversion rate optimization. Now, CRO is interesting because all websites should have a goal and a purpose, and that is to convert. To convert what? To convert visitors into doing something that you want them to do. Whatever that may be it a sale, be it sending you their message through your contact form, be it them subscribing as an email subscriber in your newsletter, whatever. You're trying to convert people. Because if you tell me, Sean, I have a website, and I don't know what I should use it for, then you're an idiot, right? You should have a website in order to do and accomplish something. You're laughing now, but there used to be a lot of business people who are exactly that way. I have a website. Okay, what are you using it for? For people to call me. Oh, it's an online calling card. What else is it for? I don't know. You're an idiot. Right? So let me educate you into what you should be using it for. So all websites, if used properly, should have a conversion point. And I'll be talking based about how CRO or conversion rate optimization affects SEO. Okay? Are we all set? Everyone awake? I don't need to make you do jump ropes or anything, right? Okay. So SEO used to be like this. Like, all websites used to look like crap. And Yahoo was pretty much the best website in the entire face of the planet. Then it became this, then it's now a lot like this. And this, if you're not able to see it well, are the lists of public ranking factors. And some of these are actually made public by Google, some of these are taken from WordPress and other stuff. So these are just 50. Imagine if we put all 200 in here. And Google has released at least 200 public ranking factors with 50 variations each. That gives you 10,000 variative ranking factors, which is pretty screwed up if you ask me. If you're an SEO specialist and you have to study everything, So a good thing that there are some factors that affect rankings less, there are some factors that affect rankings more. So we focus on factors that affect rankings more. It's a lot to take in, and we can only do so much, Flash news, we only have 24 hours every day. I only have 24 hours every day. I don't have a minute more than you do. So how are we able to do all of those things? Let's just say, you're finally able to rank first page, right? Finally, for the keyword real estate. I'm just kidding. What's next? What do you do after that? So the case I'm trying to give you today is the case of you have exhausted all possible relevant keywords, horizontal, vertical, and you're ranking first place, first page. What next? You're getting the best, this is impossible, right? But let's just say, you're getting like the best possible traffic you can ever get. What next? Well, you got everything right, you landed your site on top, traffic is coming in, you feel like things are going silky smooth, and you feel like you're on top of the world. The next thing is, you actually have to engage your audience in a way that you have never engaged them before. Let's just say you just focused on traffic. You didn't focus a lot on conversions. So now you have to engage them. A website with high amount of search traffic doesn't mean that's a website that can convert well. You know how a website that has a high amount of search traffic looks like without good conversion? Without good conversion design put into it, it looks a lot like a very, very, very texty website. Full of words. That's how it would look like. But if you mix in a little bit of conversion, then you're going to put in a little bit of image, you're going to put in a little bit of videos, you're going to put in a little bit of buttons, whatever. You're going to make it look great. You're going to want to convert. Now we're getting somewhere. From idiot, now you're actually trying to be, a good website owner, a good webmaster. So, I already explained what conversion is. But let me reiterate it. It's the act of converting site visitors into paying customers, leads, subscribers, what have you. It's getting people to actually do an action or a conversion point. Okay? So, CRO, or conversion rate optimization. By the way, this presentation is a presentation I gave last SEO Summit 2015. So I haven't really, I'm sorry to say, I'm being honest, I haven't really practiced. I'm a bit nervous. It's nighttime. I haven't had enough sleep. My baby just came out 4 nights ago. So I'm going to try my best to deliver this, and I hope you do understand and learn something from it. So CRO is the art and science behind increasing your website's conversion rates. Why is it an art? Because there is a part of CRO where you have to hypothesize. And when you hypothesize, it's not all about current data. There are some things that you have to get creative about. For example, let's take Sam's presentation earlier. With the hero content, you're not always sure that it will work. Even if you have all the data in the world that says it's going to work, there are just some of those unlucky days when you publish a piece of content, you promote it like hell, and there's just nothing. Right? And we've all experienced that, haven't we? It's just nothing. It's empty. So, the art and science behind increasing your website's conversion rate. So it's an art in that way where you have to get creative. It's a science in a way that you have to track. How high has my conversion rate increased? What actually did that increase in conversions? How are we going to scale that further? So it's both an art and a science, much like SEO. And here's the process. First, pinpoint important pages to your site. Now these pages can be your checkout page, your linking page, your landing page, right? These pages, these are important pages. You want to take care of them. You want to be mindful of them. Track them every day. These are pages that are critical to your conversion funnel. So if you're an e-commerce site, this page can start from your landing page, which is most probably going to be your product page, whatever that product will be. People will put that in their cart, they're going to check out, and if they do pay, they're going to come back to your site, or if the API is installed inside, they're going to be taken to the thank you page, and maybe you're also interested in this items page, right? So that's the entire funnel. You want to be tracking that before you start any CRO efforts. Why? Because you want to record all existing data. You want to have somewhere where you're going to come from, right? This is my current conversion rate. So you don't do CRO without knowing what your current conversion rate is, because again, that's just stupid. You're not going to be able to pinpoint what you did right or wrong. Benchmark all existing data, okay? And these can be done from existing tools with different kinds of websites, right? And Qeryz is my second startup. It's a SaaS website, it's a software as a service. We are tracking customers and their behaviors. So I don't use just Google Analytics, I use Oopra, I use Customer.io. I use a lot of tools to make sure that I communicate with each customer and take them as each customer and know their journey all throughout my website. So these are different tools. Mixpanel is for mobile analytics, again, also knowing the customer journey. Global analytics, like the global analytics tool that we all use. Crazy Egg for heat maps and Specklet for activity capture. And Kissmetrics, one of the first ones that actually is able to give you customer behavior data that's very expensive. So you want benchmark to work from. Gather all existing data from all those tools. Some of them are harder to install. So what you're going to do when you get home is probably make sure your Google Analytics is working correctly. And SHEILA was able to touch base on that earlier. Make sure you have conversion points. Make sure you have your goals set. Next is you formulate a hypothesis. Remember, this is the process of CRO. So first thing you do, you formulate a hypothesis. Now, I'm going to give you a case study. This is what I did for Qeryz when we were starting out. With Qeryz, we had a low sign-up rate. So what is Qeryz? Qeryz is a software that allows people to survey their site's visitors right on their website. That's very important because the context is very powerful. So if I survey people on my thank you page, they're going to react differently as when I survey them from the home page. When I survey them on this product, they're going to react differently from that product to that other product. So context is very important, and Qeryz is all about contextual, qualitative surveying. So we had a very low sign-up rate. And the hypothesis was, people just don't understand what Qeryz is for, right? They just don't get it. So we validated we have the next thing to do after you formulate your hypothesis, you validate your hypothesis. Next thing, so how we validated our hypothesis was we ran a Qeryz campaign. We used Qeryz to actually validate the hypothesis that we made, and we exported the data to CSV. So with Qeryz, we have an export to CSV feature where we can get all the responses, finally study the data, small data, it's not big data, it's small data, it's qualitative data, and finally say, okay, this is what we'll do, and this is what may increase our conversion rate. So from the data we gathered, we created action points that we think will validate our hypothesis. And normally, this process, okay, like 90% of the time, the hypothesis is going to be answered by an A/B test. What kind of A/B test? It depends on you. If it's the entire page A/B test, the entire experience A/B test, or if it's just a button, or if it's just a copy. It really depends on you. I prefer the experience, changing the entire experience and A/B testing that. So A/B testing, if you're not familiar with it, is splitting your traffic 50-50. 50% of your traffic goes to A, 50% of your traffic goes to B. It's automatic. There are tools to use to do that. You can use it. You can use Unbalanced, you can use Optimize Me. You can use Global Content Experiments if you have your own web dev and design team. And that one's free. Optimizing is also mostly free, so you can check out Optimize Me. It's also fast, so you're going to want to have to do that when you get back to work. And what you do from the A/B test, collect those data. So after you run the A/B test, usually it's run for 2 weeks to reach some statistical significance. You're going to want to have a 95% confidence mean. There's just 5% room for error in the data, data discrepancy in the entire run. So what you do is look at the goals of A and look at the goals of B. How many people were actually able to convert using version A? And usually version A is your original version. Version B is your hypothesis version. Okay, so how many converted with version A? How many people converted with version B? And what usually happens is 100% of your traffic will now be funneled to whoever won. If version B won, then congratulations, you had the right hypothesis. If not, don't consider this a failure. People are risk averse by nature, I know, but it's really not a failure. It just means that you were targeting the wrong hypothesis. Just start all over. It's fine. Meaning you're doing fine with your original. Anyway, you have a benchmark. You're still there, right? So just hypothesize again. Here's how we did it for Qeryz. Okay, so this is where I'm going to just be telling you a story. It's easier for you, easier for me. We were converting at a very low rate of 2.59%. What are we converting? We're converting visitors, people who go to our site and actually sign up. You see, Qeryz is free, much like Spotify. When you sign up for Spotify, it's free, right? But if you want more premium features, like getting to choose the songs you play, not having to listen to their commercials, then you're going to upgrade. And Qeryz work a lot like that. We call it the freemium business model. So with Qeryz, it's a freemium tool. People go to the site, they sign up, it's free, they use it for free, no worries. If you want more, then you can upgrade. But our conversion rate was very low. And our homepage looked like crap. Okay? Honestly, it looked like crap. We had a huge white space in our tagline, which is no other visitors think. We have Qeryz logo here, the old logo, and we have a login form here, which didn't even have a placeholder username and password. Didn't make sense. We had the button here, the call to action button, which is sign up for free. Something that I can't read it either. And then what I have here, I know you can't see it, but I have a text here that says, wait 10 seconds or 5 seconds, and the product will actually pop out. Okay? So I was assuming that people would just, oh, okay, that's the actual product, right? That's how it works. It's a survey, and I can use that in my website. But people didn't get it, right? So this was converting at a depressing rate of 2.59%. It's free, and they don't convert. Doesn't make sense for me as a business owner. So what we did was we set a goal. We wanted to increase our sign-up rate to 5%, right? That's almost double, almost double. So the hypothesis is people didn't understand what Qeryz does. They just didn't know how they would benefit from it. And what we needed to do to validate that is we need people to understand what Qeryz can do for them, and we did that through an explainer video. So this explainer video runs for like almost 2 minutes, I think, less than 2 minutes, and it explains what Qeryz does, how it affects your site speed if you use it. It explains benefits you can get out of it, and it explains how easy it is to actually run it in your site. And that increased our conversion rate by 84.95%. So that took us, oh no, I can't see it. That took us from 2.59% earlier to 4.79%. Okay, so now we were converting at 4 points. If there's 100 people coming to our site, we were converting 2.5 people. I don't know how you would say that in real. We were converting 2 people and half a person every time there's 100 visitors. And now we were converting 4 people and 79% of the person. Okay, so we still didn't reach our goal of 5%. This is how our homepage looked like. So it evolved a lot. Before it looked like crap. Now it looks a little decent. Okay, so we had the explainer video there. We had the 3 major features here. We had the pricing model there. This is legacy. We don't use that pricing model now. So we imagined, okay, like this is converting at 4.79%. Our experiment was, a success. It cost me a lot of money to actually produce that video. And so we chilled out a little bit and said, oh, we haven't hit our 5% goal yet. So let's hypothesize again. We continued to test, and we said, okay, this is a low-hanging fruit that we see in other SaaS companies, especially the freemium ones. So why don't we do this? Let's put a sign-up form right in the home page. Because we didn't have that, right, earlier. We didn't have that here. The sign-up But then sign up CTA is here, right on the free button there. I don't remember where it is. But there's also one CTA somewhere here. I think it's on the upper right portion. So we said, let's put the form itself on the homepage. And the result is what you're seeing today if you go to Qeryz.com. We have the explainer video, we have the testimonial, we have the customers. We actually had to remove this one because of the agreement with our recurring payments provider. And this one is a sign-up form. So it's actually a lot there, but we reduced the forms to just 3 or 4, I remember. So that has increased our conversion rate again. And then we have the pricing model down there. What happened? Our signups increased by 21.2%. And so we, from 4.71%, we are now converting at 5.70. So we did hit our goal of 5% and 0.7 more. So now we're converting 5 people and 70% of a person. Which is awesome, right? Now, how does all this connect to SEO? We're at SEO shots, Sean, not at CRO shots, right? How does all this connect to SEO? You probably don't know this, and Google will not admit to it either. I don't see them publishing anything about this. But user activity accounts for a lot today. It accounts for a lot today. So, who owns Google Analytics? Ever ask yourself that? Not really, right? Google Analytics, right? So Google owns Google Analytics, meaning all the activity in your site is theirs, right? They know everything about your website. Chrome, they know everything about your browser, where you're clicking, what you're doing. They can even guess what kind of website you're going to. You know, does that make it tense? I know it does. It makes me tense. Pokemon Go, Google owns. They know where you're going. They know where all the Pokemons are. So user activity accounts for a lot today. If you're on the first page, first place, and you're not getting at least 32% click-throughs, people are just looking at your result and not clicking on it, then what happens is you will get manually reviewed by Google. And when you get manually reviewed, there's a 50-50% chance that they're going to rank you down. So goodbye to the throne of first place, first page. Hello to the throne of second, third, whatever place you're going to get. Because your click-through rates are not there. Right? So that's user activity. If you get the 32%, but they bounce out, now bounce rate is relative from industry to industry. But again, who owns the data? Google. So they kind of know, right, what the normal bounce rate is from industry to industry, from website type to website type. I don't know if you noticed, but in Google Analytics, Google actually asks you what industry you're in. So if they poke a stick, they bounce out, their bounce rate is too high for your industry, you get manually reviewed as well. Now, don't go and change your industry the moment you get poked, okay? Just be faithful to your industry, that's fine, right? All you need to do is really work hard on your website, right? Don't go home and tell your boss tomorrow, John C. for me, no, the industry depends on the industry, we should change our industry. Don't do that, and don't quote my name. And definitely don't call me Patrick. So we need to do 2 things. Number 1, have the catchy title and meta description, right? Why? Because even if you end up in the first page of Google search engine results page, doesn't matter if you don't get clicked. Doesn't matter, right? Pogi points lang yun. Pogi ka nga, bababa ka rin, papangit ka rin naman. Okay? So have a catchy title and meta description. So people will be able to see that and actually be attracted to click on you, have a good click-through rate, and then captivate them, engage them in your site through good CRO. Hypothesize, make sure your site does what it needs to do to lead users all the way to that conversion point. Because users want to be converted. Users want to be converted, right? But let's admit it, most users are idiots. And that's why we say, keep it simple, stupid. That's fancy way of saying people are stupid, right? So we need to keep it simple. So you have to make a way, find a way to actually guide them by the hand, lead them to the conversion point, and make sure they stay engaged, they give you the right amount of user activity, they don't bounce off and poke a stick and make you rank down. even if you build like the best links, right? You make sure your website is as long as hell because of text, because of content. Doesn't matter. If you get less than 32%, and that's as of the data, that's the data as of the time that I created this PowerPoint last year. Google's gonna manually review you, and you have a coin cost chance of getting ranked up. This is our engagement data last year. So Qeryz, I started April of 2014. So I presented this on June 2015. That's 1 year's worth of data. Now I know you can't see it here because our projector is albino. Everything's just white. And what I have is, out of every one visitor, they give me a 3.55 page view. Now, that's good. Because how many pages do we have? We don't have a lot of pages. Because we try to keep our tool simple. When users log in, all they can see is, I can create a new survey, I can edit an existing survey, or I can see my responses, and harvest that data and export it to CSV. Not a lot of pages. We try to keep it very simple. Not a lot of integrations either. So the 3.55 is pretty sweet. How much time do they spend? The average is 4 minutes and 27 seconds. That's also pretty sweet for me, especially if we're just a 1-year-old website. When I say April of 2014, that means that's the day I actually bought Qeryz.com. Right, so it's just 1 year's worth of data. And while most people put their tool on a subdomain, we put ours in a subfolder. Because we didn't use conflicting codes, conflicting programming languages. We just use PHP. It's just a small startup anyway. And when it gets bigger, maybe we'll convert to Python. There's going to be a conflict. Maybe we need to move on a subdomain. But as of the time, we did put it in a subfolder because it works well with each other. The programming languages we used were called with each other. And so all the user activity here was credited to our SLT, which is Qeryz.com. The data wouldn't be possible if we didn't optimize our site. So we did optimize it during the time of this data. Let me see. This is like April to May 30. Okay, so this is 2 months worth of data. And by that time, the design was the latest design, which is now. Okay, so we have one test. So you're hearing me saying, oh, it's still the design. Maybe Sean didn't do tests from that time to this. No, we did do a lot of tests, and we did change the designs by a lot. But all those other tests failed. So we're pinpointing the reasons why it failed. So the design you saw in my presentation is still the design that's up right now. And for 10 keywords, and I did track it when we started, we saw a significant increase in rankings. And that's just for a year. Now, Qeryz is a 6-man team. Everyone's doing programming. The only one doing everything else is me. So I didn't do any link building, I didn't do any actual promotions for this, maybe 1 or 2 posts in Quora. That's all I did. And the keywords, they were ranking better and better, which is pretty sweet if you ask me, and that's actual proof that user activity actually accounts for a lot today. That's just for our first year business. So what's after SEO? Well, it's keeping your rankings. Generate high user activity in your site through CRO. That's it. Thank you very much. We'll now open the floor to any questions or comments. Clara?
Hi, I'm Clara. I'm a digital marketing manager with GI, and I actually handle 3 of their accounts. I said that like 2 people. Anyway, I will just comment on the entire thing about Qeryz. Well, it's not really an official GDI thing. For me personally, I refuse to use Qeryz as keep it simple, stupid. Simply because, as a content creator, first and foremost, you shouldn't call your audience stupid. They may be ignorant, they may be misinformed, or they may be too emotionally charged to see that you actually have a better point, aka the last elections. But I just want to say that if you think that your audiences are stupid, it will put you at the risk of creating very stupid content. And I've seen it with some clients that we handle that we don't, I've seen it a few times with the clients that we handle that we don't have created the content for them, but they came out with very fluffy, light content. And they had erroneous data or big claims that they cannot back up, and they got some pretty violent comments about it. So instead of us using keep it simple, stupid, why don't we just use KISS, but in the sense that keep it short and sweet? Because even I admit I'm not a stupid person, but I still need KISS, keeping it short and sweet, because there are constant things that I have to attend to every day, and I'm sure all of you do have like a lot of things to attend to every day. So even if you're not stupid, you still need some things to be short and sweet to enable you to make the right business decisions.
There you go, it's one aspect of it. So I totally agree. Content-wise, you have to target the content to your target market. Whatever level of intellect they may be, cater to that. When you're doing SaaS, it's very different. People will ask you, where's the sign up button? And the sign up button is right there, in the header. So like, it's different from case to case basis. I definitely agree with you and definitely respect your opinion on that one. Thank you for your input. So, any other questions?
Only because I'm a really shy guy, I'm gonna ask a question. On the content experiment, it's really interesting. A lot of people probably own websites, but in order for them to successfully monetize it, you have to have a certain percentage of conversion, right? So for Qeryz, why did you guys target 5%?
5% for us is a good number. Number one, because we're not the only players in the microsurvey industry, and definitely we're not the first. So the first one is follow root, but they're mighty expensive. And by mighty expensive, I mean they're like more than double our prices. So we tried to keep it at 5% because we understood that most of our traffic would not come from SEO, because we searched for the term microsurvey. And not a lot of people were searching for microsurvey. They were searching for survey. And when you search for a survey, then you're trying to look for their actual real survey tools like SurveyMonkey, which we're not. So we're not relevant to that keyword. The ROI for that keyword will not be so high for us if we try to target that, try to go after that one, especially since I'm the only guy doing digital marketing for Qeryz. So most of our traffic would come from the actual widget, which is, I don't know if you've seen it earlier, but there's a powered by Qeryz link on the footer of the widget. So a lot of people would just click on it, and they would have almost no idea what they're about to see. And not all of them are webmasters, not all of them are digital marketers. Some of them are just people trying to play with something. They may have a blog, they may have a website, they may have a WordPress site, but they're not technical, they don't know how to install the code. So what we did was keep our expectations realistic. So we said, okay, if most of our traffic is going to come from that referral link, then let's expect just this much people who will sign up from our free to a subscriber. And let's focus on actually converting the engaged subscribers into paid. So that's what we did. We focused our efforts instead on studying customers by account, by email, what they're doing in our site, and trying to engage with them through behavioral email targeting. And so we have a very high free to paid conversion rate, but we have a very low visitor to sign conversion rate. Hope I answered your question.
Hi, Sean.
Hi.
So you mentioned that your software is in a subfolder, right? If you placed it in a subdomain and if you use the same Google Analytics ID, would Google interpret differently and not attribute the activity on the same domain?
That's one interesting question, and I can't give you a blueprint answer. The reason for that is Dejan Petrovich, who spoke in SEO Summit 2016 this year, actually swore to me that his tool was in a subdomain, but Google credits it as if it was its own, as if it was in a subfolder. So in his case, and Digital SEO is a very big company, right? So his tool is subdomain on their Digital SEO. So I think Google kind of, I don't know, respects him or respects his website. He's gotten penalized a lot, right? So I assume Google kind of knows who this guy is and what his website is. And so when he put his on the subdomain, it worked for him. I wouldn't risk doing that because I know I'm the only guy doing digital marketing for Qeryz. I want all my user activity to be on the SLD, on the main domain. So that's what I did. That's what he did. Worked for him. Worked for me. I can't really tell you that you should put it in a subdomain. But if I were you and you're starting out with a new domain name, you're starting out with your own SaaS, just put it in a subfolder. That's a safe way to do it. Thank you.
I'm just going to clarify that. So you subfoldered it to benefit from the SEO.
Yes. Right? Yes, that's correct. Any other question? Going once, going twice, and that's it. It's a wrap, gentlemen.
All right. For everything else, I think Zara, CSLB would like to give some closing remarks.
All right. So basically, it's not closing remarks because it's supposed to be burn. You say something, right? I just want to thank everybody who came out, and I know a lot of you really braved the traffic just to get here, and I hope that you learned a lot from the second SEO shots, and definitely the next time, it's going to be next month, you can join because it's going to be a completely different set of topics, and we do have more speakers, and this is going to happen until November, and in November and December, we're going to be having a bigger event, all right? So we have MoreCon, that's in December, and in November, we're going to be having something that's more for people who want to get into the simpler part of SEO or digital marketing. Especially if you're a blogger or someone like me who has nothing to do with numbers because coding is like a lot of numbers, a lot. So I'm sure if it's not money, I don't know how to count. That's one thing. By the way, for those who don't know me, I'm Zara Gamma, you can call me Z. I'm Z Sodo, professional host and event specialist, and we love to partner with companies like TrueLogic and the SEO org Philippines, and we just want to tell you guys that if you give us our calling card right now, you get to have a raffle prize from us. It's just a token. Come on, just join us. While I'm waiting for your calling cards, I just want to let you guys know that we do have a survey form. Would you like me to announce it? Okay, so we have a survey form that we gave it out to you. Please do take the time to answer it so that we can make the events better and even improve on anything that you feel like we need improvement on. Ta-da! And what do we do? Of course, we provide professional hosting services, not online, but during events. We do have multilingual hosts. We have hosts who speak French, Filipino, and English. We have hosts who speak Korean. We have hosts who speak Japanese. And we're all on to speak Filipino and English. So for your events, and it could be anything. It could be a wedding. It could be a taboo. It could be a corporate event. Anything but a funeral. We don't do that. It's too sad. All right. So right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and the fifth winner will be getting a prize from one of our future clients, AOC Philippines, which is an accessory to your laptop needs. And it's going to be a surprise. And since we do have your calling cards, we'll be sending it to you personally, right, after this event. But for now, we'll be getting our consolation prizes, which is a notepad. Two. Don't worry, the grand prize is better.
So let's see if you're going to get a winner. Our first winner is none other than Miss Ursula Braza from One Grow Global Inc. Congratulations, Miss Ursula. Something for the office. All right. Next up, we have, of course, the building money for growth. Automatic winner right there. Okay, another winner is none other than Rocky. That is a star. The third for the second collab, the second. Congratulations. The warehouse 8, Mr. Rocky.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have. Okay, Luigi Manioza, the founder and CEO of Accelerate. There you go. Congratulations. And our last consolation prize winner is Micah Tindero. Miss Micah from Netherlands. Miss Micah, I have a confession. Do you know how I got your calling card? How I got your contact? I found your contact in the printing press where I was printing my calling card. And I was like, kuya, pwedeng kuha ko isa. Because I said, I was like, necklace, I like this. And I wanted to hear. Yes. For all your professional stalking services, we also do that. Ex-boyfriends, future girlfriends. All right, last winner will be getting accessories for the laptop. Accessories will include a mouse pad, also those rings for your gadgets. Does anyone have that, like the phone rings? SHEILA has that. There you go. So that when you're on the bed and then you kind of are texting like this and it doesn't fall on your face, that's one. And we'll also be giving you a cover for your cell phone for when you travel. From AOC Philippines. Okay. True Logic. Big man on campus, Mr. Carlo. He did. All right, so sir, handshake muna kasi i-deliver ko pa sa office mo. Okay. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this evening's activities. You don't need to go home just yet because I heard that traffic is still and you can make more friends. You can talk to people from Warehouse 8 or from Graft or from True Logic or from us. And Kevin, okay, I'll close it up. We're going to be asking our speakers to please join us here in front. And Bernard, would you like to assist us, of course, in awarding them the certificates of appreciation? That's also a freebie, sir. Yeah, that's my taking. And of course, Mr. Michael Bendo, please join us. Itamar from True Logic. Alright, so allow me to read what is on the certificate. And please don't worry, I need a group photo with everybody. Alright, group photos for everyone. Certificate of appreciation is awarded to our speaker for imparting his or her valuable insights on SEO shots given the 15th day of July 2016 at Warehouse 8A, La Plaza Plaza, 2241 Don Chico, Rosas, Makati, 1231, Metro Manila, Philippines. Signed by the President of the SEO.org.ph. San Juan III. So, sound? Please join us. Can we ask for the mic to be open here in front? All right, perfect. Okay, please. We'll have the certificates also given out. First up, we have Shamsi. All right, thank you so much. Everybody please join us. Everybody please join us for a group photo. Everybody. Group photo, everybody. Organizers outside, they have seats, people. People on seats, please join us for a group photo. Once again, just a reminder, you may leave the survey forms on the table or give it to our registration team. Closer back. Gentlemen, you know what to do. Classroom setup. If you are taller than the average Filipino, you're supposed to be in the back. That's a lot. I didn't realize how many people we have. Okay. Wait, closer. People, do we have people outside? TJ, you want to join us? People outside, let them outside us. Picture. Wait, not complete.
Let's take it with that seat. Into the one bathroom.
Wow. You guys want a picture?
Winter's coming for them.
All right. I think you should step on the. Okay, everybody.
I'm just making this picture.
Alright.
So one of those Asian things, or where has it? Yes.
Okay, everybody say Friday. Love it. That's it. All sound like Lil Wayne. One more. 1, 2, 3.
All right.
Thank you, everyone. Please do take care. We still have shots outside. If you're driving, do not take any. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Have fun.
Take a picture with Brent. Oh my God.